The cost of living will depend on first your lifestyle, your class, your tastes and preferences, your social life, and all that. Hello, my peoples. Welcome to Africa is Not a Jungle. I'm still loving myself in Nairobi, Kenya. My papa here has treated me so well. See, I've gained weight. Came when my hand is like this. Now we are. Economy has no problems on him. My name is Erina, your host, and I'm with my host in Nairobi,
Mwakazi Fitness. Yeah.
That's my papa. If you've heard me in my video say Papa said this, Papa did that, this is my papa. Today we want to brief you about maybe the cost of living in Kenya. I didn't want to do this video alone because I've been to Kenya 4 times. I've sung Nairobi is expensive, blah blah blah. That is from my point of view because I come from Uganda. Probably we have a weaker.
And you're still not living here.
Weaker.
So you're still stuck here. In as much as you're complaining Nairobi is expensive.
If I didn't have Papa, I would be thin and starving in the city. But God works out things in miraculous ways. So Papa here is going to be taking us through the cost of living in Nairobi.
Yeah, definitely. So starting from, do we start from basic to secondary ones?
Yes.
To tertiary?
Yeah.
So basic, we may talk about first is accommodation, which is now what people complain a lot mostly.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know whether it's fortunate or unfortunate. Nairobi has been voted many times to be extremely expensive when it comes to accommodation. Accommodation, we mean rent.
Okay.
And whether you're renting your place or whether you are buying your place, it's still accommodation.
Yes.
Yeah, and it falls under the same category of being voted expensive. Now, expensive varies. It depends again on where you're living. Just like any other state or any other city around the world, we have the low cost places and the high cost places.
And which low cost places would still be high for some other people?
Definitely.
Depending on your class.
Definitely. And when we are tackling like the expenses in terms of rent, just decide where you are coming first. So this will be based on where I have lived or where I know, because I'm a Kenyan. I've been around many cities around Kenya, and I tend to know the range. Yeah, and of course, we'll start with Nairobi.
Yes.
Nairobi cost of rent is quite high. Again, it depends on where. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we have the low class, we have the middle class, we have the upper class, we have lower middle class, and we have middle class. Then we have upper middle class.
So it will also depend, you who is looking at moving to Nairobi, what is your class first of all?
Exactly, because people come here just because you saw Erina talking about the posh places in Riverside, you want to come and live in Riverside. After 2 days, everything is finished, and the next thing we see you on television, you are requesting your embassy to come for you. Yeah. So we have places in Nairobi where rent is under $100 per month.
$100?
Yes.
In Nairobi?
In Nairobi.
Which places are those?
We have places in around Kawangware. We have places around Mathare. Of course, we're talking about now the low class places. The low class places, you'll find rent is very
like slum-ish.
Yes, and now we are talking about between a 1-bedroom house and a 2-bedroom house.
Okay.
Yeah. So under $100. So in Kenya we say maybe 10,000 Kenya shillings, you can get a house.
Wow.
And I know they are there. Then again, you can get the same 2-bedroom for between 20 and 25,000 Kenya shillings.
That's around
$200, $220.
In which places?
These are places like the same Kawangware. You can get very, very cheap, and you can get very, very expensive. It depends on the estate. Now, what Kenya has done, within those informal settlements, we have people who have come up with modern, well-looking structures that actually are renting slightly high. For example, we have Kibera being among the biggest slums in Africa, but still, Kibera rents are very cheap, by the way. You can get a house that goes for even 500 shillings.
Because it's a slum.
It's a slum. Yeah. But within the same Kibera, we have places where rent is 10,000 Kenya shillings. You understand? So within the same Kibera. So we have, like, Kibera being a slum, they also have their own rich people.
Oh.
And it's sad when you are with the poor, but the poor are also calling you poor. You understand? Because it's an informal settlement, but it has some nice houses which goes slightly for higher end.
Okay.
You understand? And again, when now we come to the lower middle class, we have places like, say, Jamhuri. Jamhuri is very affordable for, and that's why actually most foreigners like living there. If you go to Jamhuri today, you'll find Ethiopians, Sudanese, Congolese, people from all walks of life, because it's the next step, as in it's a bit affordable. You can get a rent between 15 to 20,000 Kenya shillings. Again, it depends on the size of the house, how the finishing is. Yeah. So that's around under $200.
So we go to middle class.
Middle class now.
Because I'm sure by the time people are traveling and they are thinking of moving, it's mainly the middle class and upper class, not so?
Definitely. Now, we have some roads that separates the rich and the poor.
The people came for us last time. They're like, no, blah, 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 blah.
Like Ngong Road separates between the other side, which is now Riara, and this other side, which is now Jamhuri. The rent in Jamhuri is totally different. 2-bedroom in Jamhuri you can get for 25,000 Kenya shillings. Jamhuri. I know, I've lived there. Now, when you cross the road, 2-bedroom will go for 75,000 Kenya shillings. So that's one road separating. Actually, you can see each other. You see the other people on the other side and on this other side. Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So it happens. Then again, now from we say, let's say Kilimani area, coming all the way to Nakumatt Junction. Again, there is a road that when you cross, you get into Lavington, and now that one rent doubles.
I've seen Lavington. I've walked in Lavington. It looks rich.
Very rich. And do you know what neighbors Lavington? Kawangware. The same place we're talking about, rent of under $100 a month. So we have Lavington that you can actually get rent for over $2,000 or $3,000 a month.
How many bedrooms?
We're talking about 3 to 4 bedrooms. Yeah.
Okay.
So of course you can get people who have done extensions and they are letting out the extensions, which might go cheaper, but still not very cheap. Yeah. We have places also as well. Karen is known to be the most expensive area in Kenya by square what meter or acre.
Karen is more expensive than Lavington?
It is.
Okay.
It is, by all means. And again, it depends on what you consider expensive. Just like we've said, we have places like in Kibera where they look at people in Ayani or other places as being expensive. You understand? So Karen is expensive, but it's not for everybody to live there because most of the living houses are a bit secluded. Yeah? When you come to places like Runda, Runda can come number 2. We have Gigiri, we have now Muthaiga and the rest.
Westlands, all those.
Westlands. We have houses in Muthaiga which looks better than houses in Runda. But the fact that you are in an area that is considered less in terms of square, yeah, cost-wise, considered less than others, like in Karen as well. You can get places that you can get cheaper houses, like places like Hadi. You can get cheaper houses.
Okay.
Yeah? And what neighbors Karen upwards? Ngong. Ngong again, you get very, very cheap houses. So ideally, I don't think you can say in Kenya, this area is for the rich and this area is for the poor, because in every rich environment, we have some settlements around. So when you're coming looking for rentals, just know the same area you're told is expensive, few blocks away you can get some cheaper accommodation. All you need to do is you do your due diligence.
Depends on your research and what.
You do your research, and the best you can do is have a local to accompany you when you're looking for a house.
Papa, for example, when it comes to Airbnbs,
Mm-hmm.
other places, for example, in Kigali,
Mm-hmm.
Chichuchiro, you can get an Airbnb of 10 USD.
Mm-hmm.
In Kenya, Nairobi, I've not seen one. The minimum is 20.
20, 25, so between 25 and $45 a day, you can get nice accommodation. You can still get cheaper places,
of 10,
but of 10, around 15.
But
Myself, I would struggle to get a 10. I'm a local, I know all the routes inwards, but I can struggle to get an Airbnb of $10
and
a
those,
night.
I think those of 15 will be quite at the outskirts.
Yes,
of Nairobi.
outskirts of Nairobi. Because you see, like we have Nairobi being a cosmopolitan, most people don't live within Nairobi.
Okay.
We have neighborhood of Nairobi like Kiambu. People come from Kiambu and daily they go to Nairobi. Now we have Syokimau, which is mostly considered in the Machakos area. We have these places like outside heading. We have people who come from Kajiado, which is a totally different like county, coming to work in Nairobi daily.
Wow.
Yeah. So the what aids that is the infrastructure. Now, to address the issue of cost of living houses, and you can get cheaper houses outside Nairobi, and your transport cost from a person living within Nairobi, how much they pay to go to the CBD can be the same amount of money than someone living 45 kilometers away from Nairobi spends to go to the same CBD. From Juja to town, depending again on the time. Our rates are dependent on time. What time? We have the
morning rush
the
hour.
morning rush hour. We have mid morning, and we have lunchtime, afternoon. Yeah.
So
from Juja to Nairobi CBD is around 80 shillings rush hour. From Dagoretti Corner, which is very near Nairobi CBD, or say from Kawangware, which is within Nairobi, to CBD, you'll get it from between 60, 70, and 80 shillings, around the same time. And based on the traffic, both of these people can arrive in CBD around the same time.
Oh, so that means another tip you're giving is you can get good places or even better places at the outskirts of Nairobi City, and with the inclusive of the cost of the transport, you would even be cheaper than the person who is within.
And I give you an
Nairobi.
example of I was staying at Precious Garden. Precious Garden, I used to pay more than 45,000 Kenya shillings for a 2-bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah, 45,000 Kenya shillings for 2-bedroom. And most of people might know Precious Gardens. It's near Precious Blood. So Precious Garden paying 45,000 per month on rent. Going into CBD, I'll pay around 70 shillings. That is per one way going into CBD. Okay. I came to Juja. This is a bigger house. You've seen my house. It's big. It's 3-bedroom. I have my own compound. I have a garden. I have basically everything. It's subdivided because I am in my own space, and I'm paying around between 25 to 28,000 Kenya shillings. So almost 20,000 cheaper.
You got something better outside.
Cheaper.
Yes. For example, like the transport cost is constant.
Yes.
So we phase it out. So you got really something better but cheaper.
Yes. And now the other considerations, like now, how I live here. You understand? cost of foods is cheaper here because
it's again outside.
It's again outside, and most people get food from their farms. The same food that is taken to Nairobi CBD every morning comes from around here, so I get my food very cheaply. You get?
Oh yes.
Plus now it's away from noise.
Yeah, the serenity.
Pollution as well. Yeah, the serenity. It's very quiet here, unlike in some places in CBD where it's very, very noisy, or maybe near CBD, it's very noisy. You understand? So some places like you might get public transport preferring to go to routes like Kawangware or routes like Dagoretti Corner or routes like Kikuyu, because it's the same price as coming to Juja, but it's closer. You get? In terms of fuel coverage and all that, they'll get to Dagoretti Corner faster than someone who is coming to Juja, and get the same amount of money from each passenger.
Yeah, actually, that's what I've noticed in Kenyan matatus. As long as you board a matatu going a certain route, it's not that because you're going nearer that you're going to pay less. You're going to pay as much as the person going to the end where the matatu is going to stop. That was quite wow.
Yeah. So again, that's what I was saying. Like, cost of living, it's high, yes, based on other African countries. But again, if you want cheaper accommodation, you can still get. If you want to live near Lavington, we have a place near Lavington that is considered a semi-slum. Yeah. Like it's in between Kawangware and Lavington. So, and most people who provide services to Lavington come from
the
Amboseli area. It's called Amboseli. Yeah. So you still feel, the vibe of Lavington, but you're not actually in Lavington. You understand?
Yeah, the rich vibes.
Yes, you can decide to walk actually from Amboseli to Lavington Mall, go do your shopping there,
and go back to Amboseli.
Yes.
Wow, that was quite detailed. Guys, I feel he has tried his best to digest it down for you. The cost of living will depend on first your lifestyle, your class, your tastes and preferences, your social life, and all that. Okay, so but he tried to break down accommodation in bits for you. So it will be expensive according to your lifestyle vis-a-vis the place you want to live in. If you come from Uganda as middle class, by the way, middle class of Uganda may not match the middle class of Kenya. Upper class of Uganda may not match the upper class of Kenya. So when you come here, do your research, do your surveys, and you choose accordingly. You will choose the rich neighborhoods when really your income or your money cannot sustain you in those neighborhoods. These other neighborhoods come with added privileges. Everything in the rich neighborhoods, like Papa said, the food is going to be high there. The transport is going to be high there. Like everything is going to be up there. And so you choose accordingly.
It will be high because some places, some rich neighborhood, they don't allow public means to go inside.
Hey.
We experience with you, we have some private roads.
Yeah.
So if you're living in those neighborhoods, you'll be forced either to leave the public means very far. Now again, you either walk or take a border.
You buy.
That is an extra cost.
You buy a car.
Yeah. You buy a car. That's another alternative.
By the time you're going into the rich neighborhoods, that means you can really afford a car.
But all in all, I think Nairobi can accommodate everyone.
Yeah.
It depends on where you are living.
Yes.
So if you're coming to Nairobi looking for affordable rent, do your due diligence and look around, ask people around, and anybody who lives around Nairobi and you have a different opinion, or maybe you can enlighten, because I can't be living everywhere in Nairobi. I've lived in Jamhuri, I've lived in Kawangware, I've lived in Juja, and I know so many other places and people who are living around Riverside, Kileleshwa, so I know the rentals around there. But come on the comment section and tell us more, because now we have people who are relying on this video for more information about where to live when they come to Kenya. So come on the comment section, tell us where you live, or maybe places you know a friend live, and how much the rent goes for. and kindly put it in dollars so that it's easier to convert.
Yeah, and also in case you have any Airbnb, I'm looking out for Airbnb options to share on this channel, which is within Nairobi. Yes, you can also comment down below. I'll come and cover that Airbnb because I have a lot of my friends coming in from Uganda. They're asking me about accommodation and all that, blah blah blah. I think it will be an opportunity to put it out there.
And it's free marketing for you.
Free, actually. If it's Airbnb, it's just free. I'll just come and cover, you know, stuff like that. Otherwise, thank you so much if you watched to this point. And please, we need information in the comment section. Please comment, Readers Association. I know we always go to the comment to look for information, and I'm sure because now our channel, by the way, is international. We have international audience, so they're going to be looking for this information. In case you have any info, you have your Airbnb, it's free. Feel free to share your details, your everything in the comment section of this video. I'm not going to be deleting any of those as long as it's in line with accommodation. If it's not in line with accommodation, we are talking accommodation and you're posting cars, I'll delete. If we are talking accommodation and you're posting like makeup, I'm going to delete. Yes, so let's just be in context.
Accommodation.
And
if you want to offer her a different feel of a different accommodation within Nairobi, she's willing to come.
Yes, I am willing to come. Someone offered me, but it was in Mtwapa. That is at the coast. I cannot go at the coast. And the stories I've heard about Mtwapa, I cannot go.
That's a discussion on another video.
Asanteni sana, nashukuru if you watched to this point, and see you right in the next video because you can look at us all day.